Hello, we're Group 55 and we did a psychological analysis of Katniss Everdeen. So Katniss Everdeen remains a strong protagonist throughout the trilogy, and that's because of her key characteristics. So firstly, she's intelligent and able to adapt to the Hunger Games and survive alongside her allies. She's also compassionate, repeatedly putting herself at a disadvantage in order to help others in need. She's courageous and refuses to back down, no matter the circumstances. These characteristics create the powerful heroine that Katniss is throughout the films, and they're the reason why she's such a strong opponent against the Capitol. The broken members of the districts look to her and see the person they want to be, someone who chooses integrity, while the violent dystopia surrounding her urges her to choose herself.
Throughout Catching Fire, Katniss Everdeen exhibits PTSD-like symptoms. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is characterized as a trauma or stress-related disorder with effects that may inhibit one's life after experience worsen over time. Because of Katniss's societal structure, she's more keen to showing untreated and undiagnosed PTSD symptoms. A society structure has a huge effect on the diagnosis and treatment of PTSD patients. But specifically for Katniss, mental health and treatment is not a priority, so she is forced to suffer in silence with a significantly worse quality of life than some of her peers. In a real life, Western culture versus non-Western culture focuses more on root causes versus symptoms and causes disparities between patients.
Awesome. So evidence for this diagnosis, first and foremost, her exposure to trauma. Obviously, she was directly experiencing what happened in the games, witnessing several brutal murders, and the death of two of her close friends. She also experiences distressing dreams and flashbacks, such as a nightmare about a little girl who said she wanted to be just like her and join the games, as well as a flashback seeing a tribute's face instead of a deer while she was hunting. She consistently experiences derealization, which is a subclass of dissociative symptoms characterized by a persistent or recurrent experience of unreality of surroundings. Finally, she's very hypervigilant and has an exaggerated stress response, such as whenever Gale approaches Katniss in the first few minutes of the movie. She jumps and is very startled and aims her bow at him.
And for treatment for Katniss, their options are psychoanalytic treatment, which divides into trauma-focused interventions, which straightforwardly addresses the emotions and memories associated with a traumatic event. Under these, there's prolonged exposure therapy, which confronts emotions associated with a traumatic event, and then cognitive processing therapy that teaches you how to change negative thoughts about a person's trauma. A non-trauma focused interventions reduce symptoms, but not by directly targeting the thoughts, memories, or feelings, or the event at all. There's meditation, there's SIT, which is stress inoculation training, and interpersonal therapy. Specifically for Katniss, trauma-focused treatment would be the most ideal because of the severity of her trauma, and specifically prolonged exposure, where Katniss can be reassured that what she has done in the past is not going on currently at the moment, and help her discern and assert the difference between the past and present. Due to the extreme dystopian society that Katniss lives in, she would be unable to receive this treatment, and under the control of the Capitol, psychological treatment would not be socially acceptable for someone of Katniss's status, and there's a lack of resources and importance available to address psychological health.
Lastly, for broader perspectives, PTSD is portrayed both accurately and respectfully through Katniss Everdeen. PTSD is incorporated into her character rather than it being her entire character throughout the trilogy. Katniss still had the ability to rebel, be consistent with her character, and survive the second games. Lastly, Catching Fire brings awareness to PTSD. PTSD is not romanticized, but it is rather shown in a very fluid motion, and it is not minimized in importance to Catching Fire. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy our presentation.